My name's Austin. Welcome to my channel. And in my videos, I like to approach topics from a different lens because life is extremely diverse. And if we just keep telling the same narrative in life, we risk living a life of one single story. We risk living a life of one set of characters, one set of beliefs in one single setting. But life is much more than that. In my life, one thing that has really impacted me is my travels and seeing how different people do different things in different places. And when you see that, sometimes it contradicts what you were taught as a kid, and it makes you understand that there is not just one way of doing things. So in this video, I want to challenge you, and I want to share 15 life lessons that I have learned in my life. And these are not lessons that a teacher would tell you, but these are things that life has taught me. So let's keep an open mind and let's say what's on our minds. And number one is that dream jobs were invented by the man. For my entire childhood, I was told to find my dream job. Find that one thing that you're passionate about. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And as I started to get older, I started to realize that I couldn't find this dream job and I felt like a failure. But then I started to notice that a lot of people around me couldn't find their dream jobs either. And so I started to think that maybe there's no such thing as a dream job. Maybe this is just the man telling you to stay in your place. Maybe this is just the man trying to keep you running on the hamster wheel until you're 65. That said, the second lesson is that it's okay not to be career-oriented. Now, I think that we need to normalize that term, career-oriented, because society has told us that being career-oriented is a truth with a capital T. But in reality, some people are career-oriented and others are not. Both ways are okay because people have different personalities. I am not a career-oriented person. My job is just one aspect of who I am. It doesn't define who I am, and I don't put it first in my life, and that's okay. And the third lesson is that when you're good at something, you're in the driver's seat. During college, I worked in a famous bakery cafe in the United States called Panera Bread. I'm not proud of it, but I paid my way through college and I traveled the world with that job. But I worked there for 5 years, and every single summer I quit the job because I wanted to travel the world. And every single time I came back from these trips, they called me and asked me if I wanted to come back, offered me a raise in the schedule that I wanted. They knew that I was a hard worker, so they wanted me back and they were willing to give me more money for it. And it made me realize that when you're good at something and you're a hard worker, it will put you in the driver's seat and will give you more options in life. But that said, the next lesson is that hard work doesn't pay off. Let me rephrase that a little bit. Hard work doesn't pay off when you're working for the man. In that same job, I worked so hard that I started to notice on my shifts, they scheduled less people. Were they paying me double? No, they weren't. And it made me realize that when you work too hard, people take advantage of you. But if you work too little, then people don't appreciate you. You have to find that right balance where people respect you, but they also appreciate you. And the next life lesson is that when you do what you want, people respect you. As I mentioned, I quit that same job 5 times to travel in the summer. And 5 times I got hired again with higher pay in the schedule that I wanted. And the crazy thing about that was that if I worked hard that summer and just put in the hours, I wouldn't have probably gotten a raise in the schedule that I wanted. And it made me realize that when you do what you want in life, people will respect you. They might not always agree with you, but they will respect you. And the next life lesson is that you set your own boundaries. I am a remote worker, so at any time, I can open up my laptop and check my emails, but I am a firm believer that once the laptop is closed, it is not reopening for the rest of the day. I think that you need to set your own boundaries in life because if you don't, people will just walk all over you. If you don't want to pick up your phone once you're finished with work, you have to set that boundary. If you don't want to work on Saturdays, you have to set that boundary. And generally, people will respect you for that. And the next lesson is that promotions aren't always a good thing. As I mentioned, I am not a career-oriented person. I have no desire to climb up the corporate ladder and become a CEO. We often congratulate people when they get a promotion as if it's always a good thing, but for some people, they would be much happier at the current position they're at without the promotion, because sometimes promotions mean working longer hours with more stress, and some people might not want that in their life, and that's okay. And the next lesson is that kissing ass doesn't get you respect. It just doesn't. It usually creates the opposite view where people will just take advantage of you and they don't respect you. But you have to remember at the same time that being a jerk doesn't get you respect either. We live in a world where people often just think in extremes, where you either think this way or you think that way, whether you're rich or you're poor. And that's just simply not true, because there's a lot of different ways to live in this world. But you have to remember that life is short. So don't be a jerk to other people, because no one likes a jerk, and being a jerk definitely doesn't get you respect. And the next lesson is that risks always pay off when you have a plan. I am a firm believer in taking risks in life, but you have to have a plan. You can't just quit your job with $0 in savings, because things won't work out if you do it that way. But if you have a plan, the universe will always be on your side and the risks will work out, but you have to have a plan. And the next lesson is don't base your spending off your salary. Most people have the view of, this is how much money I make, so this is how much money I have to spend. But in reality, how much money you make should have nothing to do with how much money you spend. This is the reason why over 50% of Americans can't cover for a $1,000 emergency expense. In a past video, I spoke about something called the happiness threshold. And this is the amount of money that you need to be happy without depriving yourself of anything. And you need to figure out this number. When you get a raise, that doesn't mean that you need to upgrade your life. That simply means that you should be saving more money. And the next lesson is that debt equals corporate slavery. I have never been in debt because I have seen what happens to people when they are in debt, and it terrifies me. Because when you're in debt, you owe something to someone, and usually that someone is very aggressive. Being in debt keeps you in the cycle of working hard, making money, paying off your debt. And it's a vicious circle that keeps you running on this hamster wheel until you're 65. I'd rather be poor than in debt, because when you're poor, at least you don't owe anything to anybody. And the next lesson is that money equals options. In my channel, I talk a lot about finances and money, because I believe that if you can control your finances, you're going to have a lot more control over your life. I think that money is a game that society has created to control our lives. But if you can understand the game and control your finances, you're going to have a lot more freedom and flexibility in your life, because you're going to be a lot less desperate and you can have more options to do what you want. And the next lesson is that money and opportunities can trap you. This is a lesson that I'm learning a lot right now. As I'm getting older in life and I'm starting to make more money and having better job opportunities, I'm noticing some changes in myself. I'm noticing a fear in myself. If I leave the job to do something different, I might not be able to find something as good after. And I have to remind myself that life is short, so you can't let these jobs and this money trap you, because life is too short not to do what you want. And the last lesson is stay poor. Normally, as people start to make more money in life, they start to spend more money. One of my favorite books is Chanterelle by Gregory David Roberts. And there's this quote that goes, "Happiness is a myth. It was invented to make us buy things." And I think that there's some truth in this, because as you start to make more money, you generally start to spend more money, and you try to look externally for happiness through the new phone, and then you need the new case and the new watch and then the new app, and it never stops. You're just constantly reaching outwards. And I think that as you start making more money, you should just start to save more money, and then you'll have more freedom in your life, and you should just stay poor by choice. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, you know what to do. My name is Austin. I post on Mondays and Fridays. Muchas gracias por tu tiempo. Que tenga un buen día. Nos vemos, chico. Nos vemos, chico. Nos vemos, chico.